may be assumed, fixed, and other end hinged. The grade of the steel, can be taken as Fe410, which is having the Young's modulus of Fe250. Okay, so let me just draw the section over here. ISMB 400, this is ISMB 400, and on the top there a particular plate is being provided. Either it could be provided like a welded connection, or it could be provided like a bolted connection. Okay, so this is the width of the flange, it is 140, and thickness of the plate which has been connected, it is 20 mm, and this plate is basically 300 by 20. 300 means the width is 300 and the depth is basically to be considered as 400. ISMB 400, that means depth is 400. Okay, so these particular column section to be realized and to be considered, that what is the just go back to here. Okay, so we have to analyze this particular column section regarding its load carrying capacity. So what essentially we require first, as previous, my particular idea over here is that to make the solution first, let us consider this, whatever the things are being provided ISMB 400, define all the geometrical property. H is equal to 400, breadth of the flange is equal to 140 mm, thickness of the flange, all these things you will be getting from the steel table, which I believe that I have already uploaded over there, and also you will be ready, it would be readily available for you that I or the Young's moment of inertia about the z-axis and about the y-axis, as well as you will be getting from that table that about the x-axis. So we are basically considering 20458, this particular data multiplied by 10 to the power 4 mm to the power 4, and IYY is equal to 622.1 multiplied by 10 to the power 4 mm square to the power 4, and the area of that ISMB is 7856 mm square. Okay, now rest of the things are being already there, so I forgot over here that.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, Can you just turn on the recording?
Okay. Let me just open the recording. Start recording. Right. Okay. So now this is your YY. Sorry. This is your YY axis and this is your ZZ axis. This is your ZZ axis, which is also been given in the still table. Okay. So these are the things that is been available in our readily available from our still table about this data. Now, if we want to find it out the load carrying capacity, ideally what is required is the about which axis the section is going to get buckled, or say about which plane the section is going to bend it. Okay. So in that particular context, what we require, the next phase of data is called the buckling class. Okay, so where from we would get this buckling class data? Buckling class data, again, it has been given. Let me just open my IS code. Do you have any IS code with you right at the moment? Anyone is having the IS code? Just a moment. Buckling class of cross section. It is on page number 44, table 10 of IS 800 2007. Right. So you have gone through this thing, I believe. Is it? Have you gone through this buckling class? Yes or no?
So I think it's no, sir. We don't know.
No, it should be given over there. So do you have any?
Yes.
Huh? Meranshu?
Yes, sir, it's here.
It's here, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Kirat or Juhi, Kumar?
Yes, sir.
This buckling class, I think it is not a new term to you.
Sir, it wasn't explicitly mentioned in the class.
Okay.
It may have
Buckling
been-
class means actually it is a, suppose for example in the steel we have a different class, like whether it is a slender section, whether it is a semi-compact section, whether it is a compact section. I think in my very first lecture, or maybe if I cannot remember whether it is a very first lecture or the third lecture or fourth lecture, I have given you certain this kind of data, stress strain data over here, and over there we had considered that this is the slender section, this would be the semi-compact section, this would be the compact section, and it is also been given in my lecture slide. If you can go through, then you will easily get it into that. Okay. So with buckling class is also the same thing. It is actually depends on the cross section, and why it is been required? It is been required to identify that about which particular plane your member or the section is going to get buckled or going to get bent. Okay. So in page number 44 or table 10, you will have a different class of cross section which essentially to be under the buckling class. And there is different buckling class. For example, if my section is the rolled I section, that means the ISMB, let's say ISMB 400 or ISMB 250, all the ISA section, ISMB section, ISHB section, this is one of the cross section that falls under one of the buckling class. The buckling for any particular this kind of cross section, code has already been specified that buckling about which axis? Buckling about which axis? About ZZ, about YY, or about XX axis? Depending on that, you will have it whether if it is been like this way, say about ZZ axis it is been buckled, then it is to be considered as class A buckling or the class B buckling. Now sometimes depending on, again, there is another one dependent parameter that is called what is your H by BF, breadth of the flange of that particular section. If it is greater than 1.2 and if your TF, thickness of the flange, is less than equal to 40 mm, so under which section it falls? Section A, section B, or section C, right? So depending on that, first we have to choose which buckling class it is falling under. Okay, now it is not necessarily that all the section to be the rolled I section. It can be something like this way. This particular sectional configuration, it is called the built up section. Built up means built up, B-U-I-L-T, built up section. Built up section means I have an hot rolled or ISMB or ISWHB section. Over there, I am basically providing another one plate on the top, either or at the bottom or both the top and bottom flange. I am adding another one plate, simple rectangular plate. Okay, so that would be considered as a built up section. Now hot rolled or cold rolled means it is a rolled section which is the I section or the ISA section and all these things. So in the code also, same page number, same table of IS 800 2007, there is another one classification is there for the built up member. Okay, so now our problem statement is lying within the built up member. In this built up member, the buckling class, irrespective of the I section and all these things on which the built up section actually develops, for all the built up section, buckling class to be considered as class C buckling section. Okay, so now what is meant with the class A, class B and class C? I would request all of you, please have a look into that table and the in the table of IS 800 2007. Then even after that, if you are feeling some uncomfortable thing, then again we can start a fresh discussion. Okay, so this is called a buckling class, which buckling class it is, and depending on the buckling class. So what is the buckling class is giving me? Buckling class is giving me which one is the basically about which major axis or about which minor axis the bending actually going to take place predominantly. Okay. Predominantly which one is going to take place. Now what we are going to do with this buckling class? Let's say for any built up section, buckling class would be C, and if it is C, then buckling can be done at any about any axis for a built up section. Okay, now from there What is the next thing? Next thing would be calculated the sectional property. Sectional properties. What is that sectional property now is meant for? Sectional property now is meant for the entire section. Earlier we had considered only the I section. Now it is meant for the entire section. So IZZ we have to calculate for the entire section. So IZZ of the I section already it has been given 458.4 10 to the power 4 multiplied by 10 to the power 4 mm square. This is already given for the I section. Now I have to add for the plate which is being connected. So for the plate which is being connected, what I am going to do is both the plates are there. So about ZZ axis, what I am going to do is two times two plates are there multiplied by A. A means now 300 multiplied by 20. This is my area of the plate, and then multiplied by 200 plus 10 whole square. Just go back once again. So this is my 20 mm thick plate is there. The plate is 20 mm thick. I am calculating the IZZ about the own axis of the entire section. IZZ of I can eventually calculate the IZZI1, which is basically IZZ1. For me, it stands for the I section of the plate, IZZ1. But that is I am neglecting for the time being. What I am going to consider, I am going to consider IZZ of the entire section after consideration of the IZZ of the I section plus AD square I am going to consider from a parallel axis theorem. Okay. Independent IZZ of the plate I am going to neglect. Otherwise, you can neglect it or you can consider it because it will mainly give some extra addition over there from your calculation point of view, because calculation would be now cumbersome in nature. Similarly, what I am going to do is next phase is IYY calculation. In the IYY, whenever I am going to consider IYY, then IYY of the ISMB plus IYY of the plates. I believe now you can understand why I have considered the IZZ. Even though I need not be considered, I can take it into account or otherwise I can neglect it. It will give you little addition over there. But for IYY calculation, I am considering both the ISMB and both the plates itself. Okay. So if it is like that, then 622.1, this is already been given from the steel table, plus 2 times of 220 multiplied by 300 cube divided by 12. Okay. So this is coming around 96, a big number, 1000 millimeter to the power 4. Okay. And also I have to calculate what is the effective area. Effective area, this is for 7846 is your I section effective area plus 2 times of 300 multiplied by 20. Okay. So which is giving me the 19846 mm square. Okay. So now considering these two, IYY and IZZ, final IYY and IZZ, I have gone through that IYY is less than IZZ. So that means the section classification, that whether it is a buckling class C or buckling class B or buckling class A and all these things are predominantly validated over here, my assumptions, right? Now buckling, so if it is like that, so buckling is predominant about YY axis. So now what I am going to do is over there, buckling about YY axis governs the design. Okay, if it is governing the design, then what I am going to do, I will be calculating, you know already the buckling load. To calculate the buckling load, I have to identify or find it out the radius of gyration. So R minimum I will be calculating. R minimum would be RYY now, which would be square root of IYY divided by A. Now this would become 96221,000 divided by your area 19840, which is 69.43 mm. Right. So afterwards, what I'm going to do is effective length. What is my support condition? Support condition is, what is my support condition? Support condition is, let's see, assumed the one end may be assumed as fixed and other end may be assumed as hinged. Other end may be assumed as hinged. Okay, so effective length may be considered as 0.8 times the KL. This is KL, so K is now 0.8, which is also giving you the effective length factor, and it is also given in the IS 800. Okay, so which is coming 0.8 times of 4500, 4.5 meter length was their original, so 3600 this millimeter, this is your effective length. So what is your slenderness ratio? Slenderness ratio KL divided by R, which is coming to be 3600 divided by 69.43, coming around 51.7. So if it is now 51.7, then what I am going to do, I am going to utilize, let me just go through. How many of you have the steel code IS 800? Do you have right at the moment with you? So it is required to have the steel table to get the problem solution or to understand the solution of the problem. So what I am going to do, I am going to utilize the table 9C of IS 800. What it is there? It is there in one that for this particular KL by R ratio, what is the yield stress? Because depending on the slenderness ratio, what is the yield stress to be? Okay. So now, if I consider the KL by R ratio and what is the yield stress, then what is my slenderness ratio? 51.7. And this KL by R starts from, in the table, it starts from 10 and it ends up to 250. So it is having 10, 20, 30, 40 KL/R ratio. So you have to do a linear interpolation within the two member, like 51.7. I have to find it out, right? So I have to take the value of KL/R50 and corresponding yield stress Fy, and I have to take 60, that particular row of the in the table, what is the Fy. So I have to now fit that 51.7 value. So after doing this interpolation, so I'll be getting the what is the design strength. Okay, design compressive strength. So for KL/R ratio 50, the yield stress, design stress is to be, what is the grade of the steel? 250. Grade of the steel 250. So as per the code, what I could say over here, for the 250, for 183 it is coming. 183 actually belongs to the design strength for having the KL/R ratio 50 minus of, I am doing a linear interpolation, 1.7 divided by the 10 is there, from 50 to 60, 10, then 183 minus at 60 KL/R ratio, your design strength becomes 168. So ultimately, after going through linear interpolation, I am getting the design strength is 180 के आसपास, 180.45 Newton per mm square. Now surprisingly, as we are increasing the slenderness ratio, the design strength becomes smaller and smaller. That is why this negative sign comes into the picture. Okay, so after calculation of this FCD value, what is the next thing? Next thing is to find it out what is the design force or design load, which should be area, effective area multiplied by FCD. Okay, so effective area is 19846 multiplied by your 180.45. It would be either the Newton or kilonewton. After going through this design load, we are basically calculating what is the working load. Working load would be PD, the design force, divided by the factor of safety, load factor 1.5, which becomes 2387 kilonewton. Right. So this is a completely an analysis problem that has been provided over here to start with that how do we deal with the design or analysis of the compression member. Any query regarding this?
It's clear.
It's clear, right? Fantastic.
Yes.
So in the next, we can go with the design problem. It is not a design problem, it is also, yes, at some point of time I can say it is a design problem, but most likely it is a analysis problem, but it is a little bit of combination of both the things. Okay, let me just write over there the problem statement, and I request you that give a try first, maybe 10 to 15 minutes, then we can start discussion over there. So the problem statement is a column 4 meter long has to support a factored load of 6,000 kilonewton. The column is effectively held at both ends and restrained in direction at one end. Restrained in direction at one end. At one of the ends. Okay. So design the column. Design the column using beam section. I'll come back for regarding this, and plates. Here one thing please remember, it is being saying using beam section and plates. Beam section means it is a ISMB. B stands for the beam, or ISHB heavy beam, or ISWB like that, or ISLB light, medium, high, and W beam, wet beam. Okay, and using the plates. So on the top and bottom you can use the plates also. So this is the problem statement in a design sense. So you please think of it, how do we proceed, and accordingly we can proceed over there. So can you do that thing? What is the essential requirement for starting this design problem? Anyone? To start with this problem, what we require is, let us first have a look into the what is the design of compression member problem. The first step is what? The design stress of the member in compression is to be assumed. Why it should be assumed? Because it depends on the KL by R ratio. Now L, I know the L, and I can understand, depending on the boundary condition, I can calculate what is the K, boundary condition factor. But what about R? R is basically dependent on the section which I am considering, based on that the radius of gyration, IXX, IYY or IZZ and their area. Okay. And this KL by R ratio is effectively required, and that is why we are going in a reverse direction. Initially, we had, in the previous example, we had all these things together and then we calculated the design stress. Now design stress, now we are basically assuming, after assuming the grade of the steel is Fe410, which is having the Young's modulus 250. Okay. But how do we proceed? To make a proceed it, a thumb rule that I have been mentioned, or I generally used to take into account, is for rolled section. Rolled section means all this ISMB, ISHB, ISWB, ISA, channel section, ISMC, all the channel section. For rolled section, hot rolled section, the rolled beam section, the slenderness ratio SR can vary or should vary from 70 to 90 slenderness ratio, giving the design strength, given the design strength approximately 135 Newton. Okay. For angle section, SR generally can be varied from 110 to 130, assuming that, or the given that the design stress or design strength is to be around approximately 90 Newton. Sorry, this is the Newton per mm square. Newton per mm square. Similarly, for the heavily loaded member, for heavily loaded section, SR can vary relatively less. So the design strength, therefore the design strength is approximately to be 200 Newton per mm square. Okay, so this is a thumb rule or a starting point. ठीक है ना? So now With this starting point, what is the next step? Next step is to find effective section. How do I find out the effective section? Effective section A to be evaluated. How much is the design force that is coming into the picture, and divide by the design strength, FCD, which is I am going to assume from here. Third step is select a section. Select a section to give adequate area and calculate once the section has been selected, calculate the R-min. Knowing the end condition, fourth step is knowing the end condition and type of connection, that is the boundary condition, determine effective length. That means find out the effective length. Then again, whatever you have been assumed the design strength, you have to cross check it. After doing all these things, here you are going to calculate the slenderness ratio again. Okay, you are going to calculate the slenderness ratio again, and from the slenderness ratio, when it is being calculated, you are basically calculating again the FCD value, and thereby you are calculating what is the design force it is. If it is falling within your domain or within your range of assumption, then it is okay. Otherwise, you have to re-revise it, your section. So these are the typical 5 different steps are generally used to be followed for designing the compression member. So with this, let us start with the problem statement. Kal 10 baje. Kal 10 baje. With this, the step 1 is what I am, for this particular problem statement, I am assuming FCD to be 200 Newton per mm square, because 6,000 kilonewton load is there, heavy load. So that is what I have been considered the heavily loaded, for heavily loaded structure, that what is the SR to be. For that, what is the area that has been required? Area that has been required is 6,000 times 10 to the power 3 this much Newton divided by 200 Newton per mm square. So this gives me around 30,000 mm square area. Okay. Now this 30,000 square millimeter square area is required. Now you have to use steel table to select your section. Okay. So I have been utilized over here ISHB 450 @ 907 dead load, running dead load per unit meter. So if it is like that, then area becomes 11,789 and width of the flange is becoming 250. This is mm square, this is mm. Okay. So how much area of the plate that has been required? Area of the plate required is 30,000 minus 11,789 mm square. So it is becoming 18,211. So still too much area is required. Okay. So
Excuse me, sir.
yes,
So we can choose any section. Like we
yes,
could
you
have
can,
chosen.
yes. You can choose any section, but you know, Kirat, the as we are going the higher and higher section, it would be very difficult to get from the market because all the sections are prefabricated because it is a hot rolled. Okay, it is not like our concrete. So if you are going, yes, obviously we can choose ISHB 700 or ISHB 1000, but again the local buckling will be again coming into the picture.
Okay, sir.
Okay, and
Yes.
as the problem statement is being said that use the beam section and the plates. So we can judiciously choose my hot roll section at some point of time that okay, I cannot go beyond that because as you are increasing the depth of the section, let's say at here, instead of ISHB 450, if I can consider ISHB 700, perhaps I could attain this 30,000 mm square area that has been required.
Yes, sir.
But at the same point of time, see 700 depth, whenever I am going to construct some structure over there, which is 700 clear depth I require to take that section. You understand? Because
Yes.
your then floor to floor height would be reduced significantly. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this much area of the plate that has been required 18,000 to 1. Now what I am going to do, again I am going to assume another one thing. Assume the thickness of the plate to be connected, thickness of plate to be connected on both faces, to be connected on both flange of the I section at here and at here is, let's say, 20 mm. So this is my another one assumption. Okay, or I can choose judiciously 16 mm or 20 mm or 25 mm, whatever I can require. So if I'm choosing, then it is a plate. That means a simple rectangular cross section is there. So now what I require to find it out, the depth, breadth of the flange. So 2b, 2 means in both the side I am providing b times t is becoming 18,000 to 1. Okay, now t I have been already assumed 20 mm. So from here I can easily calculate what is the b that has been required. That is b has been required over here 455.3 mm. So what you can do, I can write a statement something like that many times. Let's try 20 mm thick plate with a width of 500 mm at both sides of the I section. Okay. Now what is the next thing? Next thing is I have to, because this plate is being now calculated based on some assumption that this much amount of thickness and this much amount of area that is to be accommodated. Now what is the overhang? You have to make a check over here. What is that check for? Check for overhang. Why it is required check for overhang? Oh, you know what is meant by the overhang? Overhang means, let's say this is my I section. Okay, and now on the top I am providing a plate. I am providing a plate. Like this. If the overhang portion are, this is my overhang. If the overhang portion, HANG, overhang portion, If the overhang portion is significantly large, what would happen? Intuitively, you can say on the top of that a load is being applied over here. This portion will get locally buckled. Is it not? This portion will get locally buckled. So your idea of taking that much section and all will be spoiled all of a sudden. So that is why we need to cross check the overhang. So overhang, how much would be the overhang portion? 500 is the total. This is your 500. How much is the flange of the flange of the I section?
250.
250, right? Sorry, 250 divided by 2 multiplied by 20. This is called B of the plate divided by T of the plate. T of the plate, thickness of the plate. So this, I am just calculating this a particular ratio. I'll come back why I want this particular ratio. So it becomes around 6.25. Okay. This becomes 6.25 and it should not be greater than 9.4 of epsilon. What is this epsilon? Epsilon is square root of 250 divided by f of y. Okay, square root of 2, it is there in the table 2 of IS 800 2007. So 6.25. Now this we are basically taking this Fy is 250. So epsilon becomes unit. So at here this 6.25 from here, after making the calculation, 6.25 less than 9.4 times epsilon, so it becomes 9.4. This cross check is required. Otherwise local buckling will happen at the flange itself or the outstanding part itself. Okay, so that is why we are making the ratio over here instead of going some unit quantity. So total area, after doing all this cross check, total area that has been provided now, total area provided is equal to 11789. This is from ISHB plus 2 times of 500 times 20. Now let's say, for example, you could have asked or raised the question, if it is not like that, then what would happen? If this is more than 9.4, then what would happen? I have to take a different thickness to reduce the B of the plate. Okay. So now it is becoming 31,789 mm square, which is greater than 30,000. That means it can accommodate the load which is being applied over here. Okay. So what is the next thing? Next part is the IZZ. Now again, it is a built up section. For the built up section, class of buckling would be the C class. So IZZ we have to calculate, or otherwise I have to find it out the minimum radius of gyration. So IZZ we are going to calculate. First I 40.349.9 10 to the power 4. This is for I section plus same thing again, the similar thing we are following over here, 500 times 20 225 plus 10 AD square AD square. Okay, This is your IZZ of ISHB. Okay, so from here it is coming 1507.994 10 to the power 6 mm to the power 4. Similarly, I will be calculating IUYUI. So IUYUI would be 3045 times 10 to the power 4. This is for IZZ. Sorry, this is not divide. IUYUI of ISHB plus 2 times 1 by 12 times 20 times 500 cube. This is for the IYY of plate. So 2 times it becomes 447.116 times 10 to the power 6 mm to the power 4 mm to the power 4, not 6, mm to the power 4. So out of this we can easily get it into that IUYUI is less than IZZ. So R minimum would be the RYUY, which would be again the same philosophy, IUYUI divided by A total area. So it becomes square root of 447.116 divided by 31,789 total area. It becomes 118.6 mm. So the effective length KL, effective length KL becomes 0.8 times L. So it becomes 0.8 times 4000 and it's 4 meter, so 3200 millimeter. So KL by R is 32. Now the analysis starts. 118. Initial few steps were the design, then analysis starts. Okay, so it becomes 26.98. Okay, 26.98. So what is the thickness of the flange? Effective thickness of the flange, TF. What is meant by the effective thickness of the flange? Effective thickness of the flange means thickness of the flange due to the I section, and on the top of that your plate is being provided. So the thickness of the flange TF for ISH plus 20 mm. Where it is being applied, I'll come back to you. So it becomes 13.7. This particular thing you will be getting again from steel table plus 20, which becomes 33.7, which is 2B. Let me just again go back over here, which is 2B less than 40 mm as per IS. So it belongs to a buckling class, therefore it belongs to buckling class C, which was been assumed, and for buckling about YY axis. Okay, so now again from table 9C, of IS 800, we are calculating again what is the FCD value, 224, because what is your KL by R? KL by R is equal to 26.98, so 20 to 30 के बीच में है, so in between 20 to 30, so 224 minus of 6.98, again the linear interpolation comes into the picture, divide by 10, so 224 it is for 20 and 211 it is for 30. 30 means for KL by R ratio 30, it is the design strength. So it becomes, the effective design strength becomes 214.9 Newton per mm square. So your PD becomes now E effective times FCD value. So 31,789 multiplied by 214.9 Newton. So it becomes 6831.45 kilonewton, which is greater than the factored load. That means everything is factored load. That means everything has been satisfied over here. Okay. Now you understand the how to deal with the different problem statements over here. I believe you can now make use of this particular philosophy of protocol for solving the different kinds of problem. Okay. Is there any query? Any query? So you can do, right? I'm hoping that you can do now all the design related problem of the compression member.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Great, great. So if you don't have any problem, maybe I have a plenty of other problems that can I make it over here for solving that. So whoever was on the, I think Monday also I have another one tutorial batch, M1 or M1 batch, I think. Let me just check it out. I think M1. So in the M1 batch, I'll make a different set of problem. So afterwards, what you guys can do, you guys can share the things with each other, so that everybody can get into the idea that how to deal with the different kinds of problem. In the M1 batch, I'll be giving another different class of problems over here. So let's look into that and make it the use of this recording session, so that if anybody anybody can be benefited over there or not. Okay. So with this, can I close today's session, or maybe if you have any particular doubt, then we can still continue.
So you would be recording M1's class also, right?
Yes, I'll in M1 batch. Who is there? I think Anirudh is there, and then Rahul is there, and some who else are there in the M1 batch? Let me just check it. Do you know whoever is there? I cannot remember. I think Akshat is there. Ananya would be there. Yes. Aditya, Ashutosh, Abhay. Okay. So even though I forgot that to make the recording on, please you can ask them to remind me to on the recording. Okay.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.